All right, as devastating wildfires continue to spread across the Southland, we are joined now by life coach and motivational speaker Jesse Bradley. Jesse has worked extensively with communities facing crisis, and he's here to talk about the pain and loss we are experiencing and how to remain hopeful. Good morning. Happy New Year to you, Jesse. Obviously, this is not how all of us wanted to start 2025.
No, Kelvin, it's a devastating time, and we're grieving. The nation cares, I think, and has their eyes right now in Southern California. And also, we have hope. You know, I was a professional soccer player. My career ended fighting for my life for a year, 10 years to fully recover. And I noticed the importance of habits. And here's one for the heart, Kelvin. I call it a gritty gratitude. Every day, 10 things you're thankful for. You might even need to write it down, but that renews the heart. And then also, what about our thoughts? This is called the power of the second thought. Your first thought might be kind of negative, kind of hopeless, but you can replace it. And instead of that first thought, you have an intentional second thought, and you realize, you know, I want to be part of the solution. So those shifts internally, there's a lot right now, Kelvin, we can't control what's happening around us. But we can start where we are, do what we can, and then loving our neighbors, just like the firefighters, that unselfish example of generosity. Take a look around, and who can you help? Who can you serve? We can't do this alone. We really need to come together. And Kelvin, I'll add this. Sometimes the greatest relationships happen in the worst situations. So let's really look to go out of our way and care for each other. How are you doing? What do you need?
Well, you touched on a lot, and I literally am sitting here, Jesse. I just wrote down power of the second thought. I have three daughters, 8, 6, and 3, and sometimes, they'll say, I got this thing stuck in my head, I can't get it out, and I tell them something similar about that. Many are wrestling right now with profound grief, while they're also trying to find hope. And I don't know if you heard, I was just speaking to Taylor Torgano, and she said that she's been out there covering the fires, and she said it was a sense of hopelessness, yet resound sense of resilience. People were saying, like, I'm going to rebuild. How do you honor both in the middle of, I may have lost my home, I may have lost my business, or I may have even lost someone, yet trying to get back and say, hey, at some point, I am going to get back on my feet? How does one honor both of those feelings?
Kelvin, it's really both. There's reality and there's reassurance. The reality is that there's tremendous loss. It's devastating. It's the worst fire in the history of California. So we grieve with those who are grieving, and together we listen to each other. Sometimes just being there and your presence makes a difference. And in the middle of that reality, there also needs to be reassurance. I also have 4 kids, and sometimes they're confused and scared. And the reassurance comes that, all right, your school might not be here anymore, but what do we still have? We still have each other. Your friends are still here, and maybe it's intentional time to get together with some friends. I think for all of us, Kelvin, we need to remember what we still have. And I've heard a lot of people talk about, I still have my family right here. Also, no one can take away our attitudes. If you have a good attitude, don't give a situation too much power. Also, you can still be humble. You can still be kind. Don't let the tension and the stress and the unknown, don't take it out on someone else right now. So something as simple as kindness and choosing that, you can choose how you treat people. There's a lot, daily decisions that we can still make every day. And the things that are most important to us, that we value the most about life, those are still available, and it's a lot of internal decisions. But this is going to be a process. There's the right of way. We need to make sure we have food and water, and we're surviving day by day. And then also there's going to be a long-term restoration, and both levels are important. Don't take on too much, just one day at a time. Don't give in to anxiety. Don't end up in that ditch, but encourage each other. One sentence, one text can make a big difference in someone's life right now, Kelvin.
You know what? You just led me to something I wanted to touch on, Jesse. You just said a text. I've been living here now for 13 years, from Michigan originally, and I cannot express to you the amount of text messages, phone calls, direct messages on social media that I've received, more than I've ever received in anything. And we've been through earthquakes, other fires. What do you say to someone? We all say, how are you? Are you okay? But eventually someone's going to say, no, I've lost my home. Be the other person, the person who has reached out to someone and they receive that. How does one help other than just to say, oh, I'm rooting for you, I'm praying for you? What else can friends do or family members do to those who have lost something? How can they be more supportive?
Well, don't talk too much, Kelvin. Initially, start by listening, and that's the place to begin. Be quick to listen, slow to speak. And if you talk too much, sometimes people don't want to hear a lot. And same with kids. Sometimes they just want a 5-second version. So don't give them the 5-minute or the 15-minute version. Be sensitive to the other person. But when someone is ready to talk, then listen to them and hear their pain, enter in, grieve with those who are grieving. And as you do that, you're going to see some people really want to open up. When some people grieve, they want to be very quiet. Others want to talk a lot. If you're around someone that wants to talk a lot and hear from you, then you can start out with some possible solutions. Just today, what could be helpful? You might give them a menu because they might feel trapped. All right, what are a menu of some options? When there's tragedy, people feel like they want to retreat and give up. There's nothing we can do. But instead, there might actually be a menu of options, and you can empower people. You can talk through those. Some people want a plan. When they're grieving, some people aren't ready for a plan. Others want to think through it. So don't start with solutions, but some are going to be ready for that. And those simple statements of, I love you, it really means a lot. I appreciate you. I'm so sorry. Those simple statements are memorable and take some relationship risks. If you think someone's hurting, don't stay passive and quiet. Go out of your way to check in. People appreciate that check in. And as you do that, just relationally be aware. You're going to read their nonverbals, sometimes a hug, a prayer, sometimes just words of comfort that they hear at just the right time. It's going to make the difference that day.
Yeah, I just started following you on social media. You got some really good positive things. I would encourage folks to do the same as well. Jesse, wishing you the best to you and all of your family. Thank you for helping us really find some hope in the middle of all of this chaos and devastation. I'm wishing you all the best. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelvin. It's important we unite, and there's literally people around the nation that'll help. We're not alone.
That's right. You said it. All right. Thank you so much.